Welcome back to the 480 podcast. Your Arizona State Sun Devils had an incredible win last night. And we're going to answer the question if Sam Leavitt is White Boy of the Year. Find out all of that today on the 480 podcast.
We got to do the censor button.
Yeah, so. Oh, man. All right, well, 31-28 is the final score of last night. And what are you guys thinking about it?
I don't even know where to start. The roller coaster of emotions yesterday. You guys really stressing me out in the second quarter, man. Like, I was losing life. I had my hands on top of my head. I was like, I cannot believe we're making Jordan McLeod look like this bona fide Cam Ward. But, hey, we pulled through. Very good in-game adjustments by Coach Brian Ward.
Of course. I mean, this was one of the hardest games of the year. We were saying that all during the preview. I mean, there were so many things that we just need to unpack. And for starters, I think it starts with, the defense, like you said, with Brian Ward, being able to adjust to a team like Jordan McLeod's squad, especially with the wide receiving core they had with Jaden Williams. Same thing with Bo Sparks, Joey Hobart. Their running back is great too, is Molly Mahadi.
Joey Hobart looks NFL tier.
Oh, of course.
Did you guys see that hurdle on
that was crazy.
That is the second time he's been hurdled, by the way. And the last 2 games? He's on 2 different highlight reels now, by the way, which is hilarious to me. But it's, this game definitely had me on the edge of my seat. I was biting my fingernails the whole time. Just being able to pull through was insane. I mean, it was a great game.
Yeah, and let's go over the QB stats for this game. Okay. So the QB matchup. Oh, that is the running back matchup. The QB. Oh. Oh, no way. Look at that. We forgot to change. Oh, wow. So it's not Cam Scattaboo and Ismail Mahadi. It's actually Sam Leavitt and Jordan McLeod. That's my bad. But the pictures are right. The names are wrong. But let's go through this, okay? Alex, that's actually so funny. Okay. 246 yards to McLeod's 268. 62% completion percentage for Leavitt. And 68% for McLeod. 1 touchdown to McLeod's 4 and 69.4 QBR to McLeod.
That was actually Scattaboo's final QBR rating too last year, which is so funny.
Is that actually?
Yeah, that's the same.
What's Sam Leavitt's rushing yards on the day?
So Sam Leavitt officially rushed for 40 yards with 11 carries and 1 tutty. His longest rush was 40 yards, though.
So 40 yards. Okay, so he definitely had some taken off.
Well, so let's just do the math. The long is 40. He had 40. That means 10 of his rushes went for negative.
Well, there was 4. It looks like 14.
Positive.
It looks for 14 carries were for -16. But at the same time, I feel like that's not completely accurate with that either. But I mean, I don't know. Call it 50 on the mark. So great game, running wise for Sam Leavitt. He's finally looking like he's able to find his way out of the pocket, being able to make sure his blockers are, making lanes for him to get through and, kind of giving me them Justin Fields type vibes when he was with the Bears and the first week too with the Steelers, just being able to, really draw out some plays and just, get yards for your team. I thought it was awesome to see Sam Leavitt just have that capability to move like that.
Yeah, I don't know if Justin Fields is the comparison we really want.
Come on.
If we're comparing NFL Justin
Russell
Fields.
Wilson.
He doesn't even look like Russell Wilson remotely.
I mentioned it in my daily pick.
What do you mean?
It kind of reminded me of the 2019 Titans, where it's like we had our main wide receiver 1 in Jordan Tyson, and then we had some tight end action, and then Leavitt, kind of like a Tannehill, made the running plays when he needed to.
Of course.
Yeah,
and
so
sneaky athleticism.
I have a question. Does this make Leavitt White Boy of the Year? You saw the swagger of that last touchdown before half.
Come on, what's Cam Scattaboo's
What?
I don't know if Cam Scattaboo's White Boy of the Year, though.
What?
Bro.
You're telling me a guy that rushed for 262 yards last year?
He was the captain for 319.
But he doesn't have the swagger.
What are
of
you
Leavitt.
talking about? Swagger.
You see that little
the definition of
swagger of a white team.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think Cam Scattaboo is the definition of swagger. Are you kidding me?
First things first. What impressed me the most about Sam Leavitt was the fact that he converted on a lot of 3rd and longs.
Yes.
Phenomenal stuff. We'll go over it in the highlight clips, but they're all 3rd down conversions that I put in the highlight clips. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, let's look at their team stats and see how they did on third down this game, because last game was not so good. It was 5 for 15. This week, slightly better, 7 for 16. So there's improvement there, but we got worse on fourth down. Last game, it was 3 for 3. This game, it was 1 for 2. But 347 total yards is not a bad day offensively. We saw Leavitt air it out just a little bit more yesterday than he had in the past. 246, obviously, as we showed in that graphic. That wasn't Scadaboo's passing numbers. That was Leavitt's. But yeah, I thought he had a fine game. That first pass, who was it to? The very first pass of the game, right after that Scadaboo run, got bottled up and they fumbled it. Who was that to?
Tyson. That was Jordan Tyson. Yeah, who was my offensive player of the game, by the way, which was a great call. I'm gonna pat myself on the back with that.
Yeah,
me and Trev talked about it a little bit. Yeah, me and Trev talked about it a little bit beforehand. Tyson was due for that breakout game, and he had it, man. I mean, just take a look at the stat line: 6 receptions, 120 yards, 1 tutty. That 52-yard bomb that we all knew Sam Leavitt.
The context behind it is he had the huge play-action post route touchdown, but he also had 2 really important third down.
Oh, of course.
Catches. Like one of them was a yak where he beat the guy on and then just spinned around him, and then the other was a 3rd and 8 in the red zone, and he caught the 15-yard dig route. So, and that was question. They might not even have been a catch, but because he was wearing maroon gloves, the frames just didn't pick up if he dropped it or anything.
Yeah, of course, and that's exactly what I was trying to say. Like Sam Leavitt, we all knew he could throw the deep ball. Yeah, he had the arm, like the arm power. We saw it against MSU, and that was the other thing too that we especially saw tonight against Texas State. Well, yesterday night, we all knew he could hit that deep ball, and it was great to see him convert with Tyson on that play. I mean, 52 yards. Tyson is that guy that can just burn your man, and he did just that. I loved seeing us attack those DBs like that.
For sure. What other players on offense caught your eye?
Well, I wanted to talk about the Scat Pack. It wasn't the best night, and look, we have a graphic for that. This is actually...
He still had his production, though,
Yeah,
right?
He still had decent production, so let's break it down, okay? The 2 top running backs of the game were Cam Scadaboo and Ismail Mahadi. And Scadaboo, 24 carries to Ismail's 14.
How many rushing?
Scadaboo, 62 to Ismail's 68, but Scadaboo 2 touchdowns to his 0. But
and
unfortunately,
Ismail had a costly fumble.
He did.
By Shamari Simmons.
He did.
So I feel like he wins the matchup.
Well, 2.6 yards per carry to Ismail's 4.9. I don't know. It definitely wasn't the 262-yard game he had against Mississippi State. It's one to forget, but like we said in the last podcast, or like what I said in the last podcast, is he's going to be rusty, and I really hoped Relique Brown would get a little bit
It was
more.
the game plan. It was the game plan for Texas State.
He didn't exactly.
They knew we were going to need to run it, and so they stacked the box. They even stacked the box with 8 people sometimes.
Yeah. And that, like, going to Cam's performance in terms of also, like, catching the ball, like, his receiving has gotten so much better this year, too. And that was so evident against, Texas State. The Bobcats were not able to get him, too, on those simple drag routes. Same thing with the zigs.
Anything
on the outside
HB
corners.
Screenplay that Kenny Dillingham has, where, like, Sam Leavitt looks to the left and then just does a complete 180 turn and just throws the HB
great
screen.
Play.
Still executed perfectly.
Of course. And going back, to your third down conversion rate, Arizona State, I just found this out, by the way, are ranked 42 in state. We have a 43.5 completion rate percentage at third down, and which is...
Who are we grouped with? Cincinnati, Vanderbilt.
Cincy, and we're right in the middle of Cincy and Central Michigan. Cincinnati standing at 41, Central Michigan standing at 43.
Hey, but not too far above is our foe in 2 weeks, Kansas.
Yeah.
Look, like in-game feeling-wise, I don't really stress when we're on third down like I used to. Like, because there were so many question marks with this offense. It was like, can we convert on third and longs? It was really just, if we don't get ahead of the chains, if we're not consistent on the running game, what's going to happen? That was kind of scary to project. But now here we are in week 3, and Sam Leavitt definitely proved that he can convert on these third downs. Really good stuff.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing with ASU, too, especially with not just them being able to convert on third down, but holding people to third down conversion rate. We have one of the better ones in the league with 33% when people are trying to complete a third down conversion on us. Our defense is great in that aspect, and it's great to see them keep moving forward with it. It's actually one of the best ones we've had since that 2019 Brian Ward defense. So I love to see that too, especially with him, trying to build this more aggressive and, pass rush heavy defense screen that he's trying to build.
Yeah, and speaking of Brian Ward, some more turnovers in this game.
Wonderful stuff.
Wonderful
and they came
stuff.
at the perfect time.
3 forced turnovers, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception on McLeod.
Mm-hmm.
The turnovers just keep on coming, just like we said they would.
Yep.
That's a Brian Ward defense for you guys.
Yes, it is.
It's something you can expect for the rest of the year. Turnovers are going to happen, but what we didn't like to see is Leavitt putting the ball in harm's way. His first interception of the season. And guess what? I'm happy that it came in the 3rd game, right? That's really good QB play if you're going 3 games and only putting the ball in danger 1 time throughout that.
Yeah, he threw it to Marqueston, our blocking tight end. It's all good.
Yeah.
You threw him a little high on it.
Yeah.
It'll be an
Hey,
adjustment.
but it happens, Every
It happens.
QB
He's a
has
freshman
interceptions.
QB.
Exactly.
The point of the matter, I kind of want to get back to Brian Ward because the in-game adjustments were noticeable. This was the first team we played that had a high air raid offense, and they executed. G.J. Kinney, the head coach for Texas State, phenomenal game plan. They were running all over us, but when they had that run as well, Jordan McLeod was going all gun, empty set, and he was manipulating our entire defense with his good, manageable throws, hitting those 5-yard curls, and then those receivers were getting yak. Problem was, it was Faseu, it was Keyshawn, and it was Caleb McCullough, and they weren't able to read the quarterback's eyes as fast. So Jordan McLeod was throwing those 5-yard curls right in front of the linebackers, and we were chasing a lot of receivers in the first half, even a little bit in the second half. I know, like, that Keith Abney blown coverage, blown out of proportion. That was an embarrassing play, but he recovered. I'm not going to harp on him because he made the game-saving PBU. But ultimately, our linebackers just weren't fast as they were the first 2 weeks in covering these short midfield catches and throws. And that's really what beat us up. Jordan McLeod had those stats because he was managing the game. It was a good game flow for him. They were running the ball. They were getting their yards. And then every time he was passing, it was perfect check down. They got the right decision every single time. And then it took us to really capitalize on these turnovers to change the aspect of the game. Because if Molly doesn't fumble that ball and they drive, who knows what happens?
Oh, totally.
It's still 28-28. It was a good game. So,
yeah. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, and McLeod is easily the best quarterback that they have played thus far into the season.
Easily.
Sabota
Blake
is in.
Shapen wants to be like him.
Yeah,
but
and then
wasn't.
Blake Shapen
Sabota
just
is
wants
not
to be
turning
like
any heads either.
Yeah, Blake Shapen
Yeah.
just wants to be seen. That's all.
Yeah, we'll see if Wyoming beats BYU. But
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
see
see
what happens with that.
But,
But
yeah.
McLeod, wasn't it 2 years at U of A?
Then
JMU yet last
spent-
year
well,
when
he
they
spent
went
his
on
first
do you
2
guys
years
agree
at
with my
USF.
take? Or do you guys agree with my take? Jordan McLeod, one of the better quarterbacks we played this year. Because I'm taking him over Avery Johnson on a Kansas State team.
Okay.
I'm taking him over Bowman on an Oklahoma State team. I'm taking him over Cameron Rising on a
Well,
Utah team.
Cam
Well,
Rising
yeah.
might be out. We're not.
Yeah,
gonna
he's
know.
screwed
Rising
up
will
his
most
wrist.
likely be
So
out. Yeah.
Well,
at
he
bare
probably will get
minimum
back.
for our game, for the ASU
He'll get
game, I
back.
think he'll be out. You think he'll be back by then?
Yeah, he's got time.
Okay.
Yeah. See, the thing with me is where I'll stand on this is like in terms of where our schedule is going to be at, like upcoming next versus Texas Tech, right? Like take this one game at a time. Let's look at Morton.
Their running game.
Their run game is what's
Taj
powerful.
Brooks.
It's not. They're
we
not.
gotta stop him.
Yeah, exactly. It's not their air raiding offense that they have.
Yeah.
For sure. That is gonna kill us that game. It's gonna be stopping Taj Brooks.
And then Kansas has caught us by surprise because honestly, Devin Neal is the impact on that offense.
Easily.
It's no longer Jalen Daniels' projection anymore. We've seen him; he's struggling to make his decisions.
He is
But
struggling.
here's the thing. I still think Jalen Daniels is gonna. I think that's gonna be the toughest QB we're gonna face. I will
It
still
could be, but the
I
way
believe I will
Jordan
stand by
McLeod
it.
played yesterday, he
I mean, he
played
looks great.
really, really good.
He looks like his JMU self,
Yeah.
A guy's putting up these same exact stats already so far into the
Yeah.
season, already almost 1,000 passing yards, already with 6
Or
touchdowns.
he dropped 4 tutties on us last night.
Yeah, exactly. He's at
hard to do.
or no, he's probably at way more than 4 touchdowns right now. I believe he might even be at 8.
9 touchdowns.
Yeah, 9 touchdowns.
He's got the
9 touchdowns
production.
on
He'll
the
make
year.
a practice squad in the NFL.
Oh, of course.
Somewhere.
He's standing at 815 passing yards already throughout this year.
Yeah.
One more game and he's already at the 1,000 mark. But he's an amazing player. Don't get me wrong. Jordan McLeod too. I loved seeing, like, I know we talked about this before. He's also a running back as well, you know, putting up great yards too in terms of being able to draw out plays. He did a great job at it. That's one of the things we talked about too. Arizona State took us a while to adjust, took us a while to get the QB contained down, making
we
sure
were
that
chasing a lot of people.
Exactly. And it was the same thing too. We finally found ourselves in the fourth quarter. I love seeing plays by Keyshawn and Clayton Smith where we were just able to pull into the backfield and stop those quick little bubble passes, you know, those quick little screen plays.
Yeah, Shamari Simmons is the
Oh,
guy.
of course.
You saw him limping a little bit too after he had a stinger in the middle of the third quarter.
Yeah.
And then fourth quarter, he just took over. He had the great bubble screen busted coverage on Hobart, and then he had the amazing strip sack.
Totally. And
2 tackles for a loss to go with that, with all of that.
Yeah.
Great day for him. Miles Rouser also had a great day.
That was your defensive player of the game. And who was Strider? Which one was yours?
Keyshawn Elliott,
Keyshawn,
my
baby, yeah,
dog, and absolutely
He made the game-saving third and 2 stop.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He 12 tackles, 2 solo, and a half tackle for loss.
I mean, he was the guy that answered to their pass coverage because Caleb was a little slower, and then Fisei was more of a run stopper. So it's like Keyshawn was the guy who was getting those 5-yard curls, tackling the slot running back, and he was chasing a lot of guys. I was honestly really impressed with our tackling abilities as well. Like we were chasing a lot of guys, but at least we brought them down. We weren't getting exposed as much as we could have.
I completely agree with that. CJ Fight too, you know, having one of the lesser games on the year for him. But like one of the guys I really want to get into, I talked to him very briefly once. And it was Blazin Lono Wong. He got his first sack of his career last night. Like, obviously not a standout guy yet at all.
Amazing
but
rotating.
Of course, he's great at shedding blockers. That's one thing he's really great at. You know, Fight's more of a guy that's going to bull rush you. But, you know, I really
How about
love
Jeff Clark?
Oh, yeah, great game from him as well.
He looked amazing. Like he looked like an edge rusher going inside the trenches, and he was winning his matchup a lot of the time. Every time he came back out, it was awesome. I love to see number 5.
Totally. And going back, kind of backtracking for a quick sec, Strider, you want to talk a little bit about how your score prediction went for the game?
Oh, yeah. I actually was dead on. Not dead on.
Well,
so
mostly.
I said mostly.
What was the score?
The final score was 31-28, and I said 34 for ASU, so I was 3 off. But then I did say 28 for Texas State. So that's back-to-back games where I've been almost there, where I've just been right
and
there.
Then I did 24-21.
I think I said 28. It was like 28-14.
So I knew it was going to be a 3-point game.
Yeah,
I was spot on about that.
You were.
You almost got the 34 right too. If they would have kicked the field goal,
oh yeah,
if they didn't draw it out, they kicked the field.
If Hershey could actually kick a 50-yarder,
dude, that would have been a different game though. If we made that 51-yarder,
there would have been no stress.
It's good though. We started that drive on the 1, man.
Yeah,
I'm so happy we at least got to the opposite side of the field.
I agree.
It was really big for us, and you know, it's good to finally see some real adversity. We saw a little bit of it at the end of that Mississippi State game.
That was stressful, though.
But
this week was stressful.
It was stressful.
very
And
stressful.
the Mississippi State game, to be fair, Chapin is not all that. Okay.
No.
Like ASU was probably getting a little concerned, but they're like, if Chapin beats us, Chapin beats us, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just how it has to be. But McLeod can kind of press the issue, and he can do it by himself.
Yeah, and he did.
He did.
The wide open blown coverage go route. Once that go route hit the end zone, I was freaking out a little bit.
I know. I think I said it.
Because that was the real moment of adversity.
Yeah, Strider sent a message to the group chat. He's like, "Gosh, damn it!"
Yeah, no, it was no good. And
it was scary.
It was, and so they responded well.
They did.
Leavitt having that nice little rushing touchdown right before the half.
No, that was so we hadn't scored until the 3-minute and 45-second mark in the second quarter.
Their player of the game by far too that I felt like was really getting to us in the first half was Ben Bell, the star defensive lineman for them, who was going absolutely nuts against us.
He handled his matchup against Ian Core plenty of times.
Oh, of course.
Ian Core got beat a little bit. So did Josh Atkins. A lot of self-inflicted penalties as well. But I saw Coach Saga scolding him on the sideline a few times.
But you know who had a great game? Lee Fautanu.
No, he had one. He had one penalty.
He did have one penalty.
Yeah.
He did have one penalty.
And let's be real here. We lost Cade Briggs in game, so Kyle Scott subbed in. It'd usually be Sean Nea.
Yeah, that's true.
But Kyle Scott came in, and he didn't cause any problems. That's all you need to ask from an offensive lineman.
Of course.
Just be there.
Just be solid. You just got to be a wall. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
No, of course. That was definitely awesome. Love to see our offensive line stand up like that, especially against, Texas State guys that are using, brand new transfer acquisitions on the defensive line too. You got to hold up against these 4-star, 5-star athletes that are out there to have something that they need to prove, especially with Texas State probably being the favorites too to win the SBC. That's one of
They
the
were the
biggest things
favorites
as
to win the
well.
game.
They were the
Yeah.
favorites to win the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they will win the Sun Belt.
They will definitely win the
Yeah,
SBC.
I
They
don't
will
know
win the
much about Sunbelt
conference.
football, but
Yeah, they
You know,
they
I'll
seem
keep-
like they're up here.
I have
with
my
some of-
radar up for them for
yeah,
sure.
no, they'll be someone to watch. They could have been a sneaky non-Power 5 playoff team, but
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's
we'll
all
see.
but gone.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see.
They just have one close loss to us. That's a good resume.
It could be. It depends on what we go on and do.
Yeah.
ASU,
Yeah.
I mean,
We know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, so the teams that are playing in the SBC West, because they have it kind of split up West and East side, and where Texas State's playing, it's Southern Miss, South Alabama, and crazy game by the way from them.
It's
Troy,
awesome.
South
It's all
Alabama.
good, yeah.
LA Monroe. We have the Raging Cajuns, my favorite name in all of football.
So now that we're 3-0, I want to see what your guys' take is. Are we going bull hunting this
Yes.
year?
Are we going bull hunting?
Is it safe to say?
I think there should be an expectation for a bowl game now.
yeah,
Of course.
100%.
Yeah.
You're started at 3-0. You only need 3 more wins.
Yep.
For
we
the
play
rest of the
Pop
BYU
Tart
season,
and
pool,
UCF
baby.
at home.
you play BYU, UCF, and Cincy.
Okay, Cincy at
And
Cincy's
Texas
a little
Tech.
hard.
Let's not forget Texas
And
Tech is up
Texas
next.
Tech.
A
Tech
team
is
that
hard.
has not been looking at
They
their
lost
highest.
37-16 last week to Wazoo.
They almost who was it that
Wazoo
Texas?
without Cam Rising too.
Yeah, what was it?
No, Wazoo. Wazoo is different. Washington State.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I see.
Texas State won against ACU by 1, 52-51 final. That's horrible.
Whew.
I'm sorry, but that defense. Texas Tech is supposed to have one of the better defenses too in the Big 12.
It's all
At least
good. They
when
got
they entered the
trenches
year,
depth.
they do.
We're
totally.
going to Lou Box, so we can't speak too early.
That's
all
true.
right?
That's
We
true.
can't.
All I'm saying is we got 2 games in the Valley against UCF and BYU. Those are favorable matchups for
Yeah.
us.
Those are.
And I
Absolutely.
can't wait to see how UCF does against TCU. But if TCU looks dominant this weekend, then yeah, I like our matchup with UCF at home.
I agree.
So yeah, bull hunting. All right, now that that's checked off, what else are we seeing in this season? Are we projecting any breakout players? Do we see the consistency going with Jordan Tyson and Sam Leavitt connection? Or do we see ourselves catering back to the original identity of Scattaboo, Relique, DeCarlos will get healthy. And then we got Kyson. He got some PT yesterday.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna end up leaning on the running game very heavy as
Yeah,
this year goes
totally.
on. I want to see Relique Brown get more touches, man. That was a little bit. That was bad.
I want to see
That
Kyson.
was bad.
I want to see Kyson Brown more in the third down role. Like I want to
Yeah.
see him get some
Yeah.
good routes for sure.
For sure. And I mean, in terms of how I think consistent like Jordan Tyson's going to be, especially with Sam Leavitt, I know all of us almost had a heart attack when he dropped the ball when he fell down for the first.
I
Didn't
honestly
actually-
think he did.
Well,
I don't. Think
I
so.
think
don't
it was a
think so.
drop. Yeah,
there's
so?
no way.
yeah. I
His
felt
knees
like
were
the ball hit
completely
the
down.
floor.
Well, when he
But,
hit the
like,
floor
No, I
first.
know you have to hold possession until you hit the floor, and
But he hit as he's hit it.
But as he's
the
hitting
ground-
the floor, yeah.
I
The
know,
floor
but I
cannot
thought I
cause a
saw the
fumble.
football on the grass. Like I thought the
If his
floor
elbow-
helped him. Nah, his like I saw the ball like it was on the grass. It was just a very close call. The frames were not
Take it to
were
New York.
blurry.
Take it. Yeah, let's.
No, the
let
frames
New
were
York
not blurry.
have-
I'm blessed, bro. That was a 3rd and 8 conversion that ultimately turned into a touchdown. but
Yeah.
Still, man, that was scary.
But-
I was scared they were gonna take that back.
In terms of talking about though Jordan Tyson's consistency, I think it stays through. Like, do I think that we're gonna go back to this original identity of using the run game all the time?
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
I want to see
this-
that. I want to see
I mean,
more
they
play
still ran
action.
42 carries.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
they still ran
exactly.
101 yards during this whole
And there
game.
were even times
And-
where we felt, why aren't you guys still running it some more a little bit? You know, like
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
wanted them to spam a run a little bit more.
exactly. But I think that this wide receiving core is finally starting to get an identity of their own. Same thing with Melquan
And tight
Stovall.
end.
Of course,
Shimon
Mateer has been absolutely
I think
phenomenal.
he's gonna have a breakout. Like I think he'll have at least one game where
Where
he
he
gets
goes
80 plus.
nuts.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he almost did it this game. 5 receptions, 57 yards.
that's awesome.
Of
That's
course,
really
and if he
that's
would have
great.
broke, he had the
And then
one play too.
Cameron Harpool got a good catch, and then obviously Mark Heston got targeted and it was
Yeah.
an interception. But obviously he's an asset. Like, he's a really good blocker, but we can send him in the flats one time.
Totally. And that was the thing with Matera. You know, he would have probably had a touchdown too, that 24-yarder pass that he caught. If he would have shed it off that one guy that took him by the leg, he would have had it.
Even the Sam Leavitt QB run, Matera was wide open.
Oh, yeah, he was easily.
He beat his matchup, went in for a nice little crosser.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we had him, but Leavitt, if Leavitt didn't get that, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
But
No, I agree.
So it's all good.
But that's what I mean, though. Like, do I think we go back to this original, dynamic of using the run a lot? Of course, you want to utilize, one of the better running backs in the entire Big 12. And I just am so excited for this team, especially seeing Tyson perform well, Melquan perform well. Same thing with Matera, as we just talked about. This team is finally getting a wide receiver identity. This core is looking solid. And, props to Hines Ward, in my opinion, as well, for getting this squad together.
Jordan Tyson's amazing run blocking another week in a row.
Of course.
Like,
and
this guy is popping out on film for run blocking.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And he's destroying his man. Anytime man coverage is happening, Tyson is getting open.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been loving to see from him. His route running skills have definitely improved, especially just over these few games. And,
And then I'm proud of Melquan Stovall for getting up through that injury.
Oh, totally.
And replaying. That was really good stuff. Xavier Guillory has to work on his hands, but I'm not counting him out yet. I still think he's going to be a good player.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I actually like this wide receiver and tight end room for the Sun Devils.
Because they're like low-key players, but like they can break out if we scheme them right.
And I think they fit what Sam Leavitt does well. Good route running.
Yeah.
Decent hands for some of them. But I think, on the defensive side, I think some issues popped up in this game.
Yeah, because these linebackers were chasing, and they couldn't keep up.
I think it's shown that we do have some weaknesses. That defensive line is very solid. I like our defensive line, and I love the safety room. The safety room is great.
The problem was we were committed to man coverage in situations where we really shouldn't have been. Like, we shouldn't be in man coverage on a 3rd and 11. So G.J. Kinney took full advantage of it, had a wide receiver and another wide receiver behind, so that front wide receiver would distract the DB, and then we had a guy going inside, and he was winning those matchups every time, and then we were chasing him. But ultimately, I like Keith Abney responding, next play mentality. Javon Robinson looked aggressive. We didn't see any Cole Martin. We didn't see anything from him. No. So maybe it's just because they like playing these 3 safety sets. But even when Shamari took a little bit of time off, I was like, all right, we're good. We got Kamari Wilson. But Shamari is our guy.
Yeah.
He literally is the leader. Xavier X was amazing on that interception, but he definitely had he had some time to adjust to everything, but he proved his athleticism on that interception. That was a great interception.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I completely agree with that. But at the same time, like you said before about the defensive weaknesses of things, that man coverage, man, just really killed us. That's why you don't have a guy who runs a 4.5 go up against a guy who runs a 4.2, which is Jaden Williams, one of the faster 40 times in all of the SBC. Like, the guy's a beast.
And then Hobart, man.
Of course, they're guys that'll beat you.
The problem was Keith Abney was playing off coverage, expecting a 10 and out, and then Hobart would just do a little 5-yard route and then beat him.
For sure.
He'd break his tackle or make a move on him, and that was the problem. They got a lot of those little 5 and outs that hurt. They build up.
I think the linebackers were just playing a little bit too deep, and then on top of that, playing man, they just weren't quick enough.
They were a little indecisive sometimes.
But then second half.
Second half.
That was a different story now.
It's really just the aggressiveness in the second half. It changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you called that second half, by the way. If nobody has seen the preview yet,
you should.
You should. And Trev also did call that we were going to hold this Texas State offense to just 7 points in the second half. And Arizona State, they did just that. We owed them the 1 touchdown in the third quarter, their first drive of the third quarter. And it was great to see that.
Yeah.
It was great to see the defense figure things out, start covering people on those curls, those flats, making sure no one's getting beat too on their man. It was a great quarter, in my opinion, for Arizona State's defense. And I know you guys have a great amount of takeaways from that as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the better passing attacks ASU will face this year.
Yep.
And the fact that they were able to take some blows early and adjust and have a good game plan going into the second half, that speaks to Brian Ward.
Yeah, what turnover was your guys' favorite?
Oh,
You guys have to pick one.
the interception right at the end, right there by.
The Xavier?
Yeah.
X?
The
Oh,
Xavier
come
X.
on.
You like that one?
Yeah.
That one, yeah, it was pretty sick.
For
It was
me,
pretty
I'd
sick.
have to do the Shamari fumble, man. On their star running back. So we get to the 50, and then we're around like the 40. We can't get a first down. Self-inflicted penalty, so we pin them back deep. Then we have to re-punt it because of the penalty on the punt. So we stopped him at the 1. We put him at the 1. No, now we had to re-punt him, put it back at the 10. And then literally the first play of that drive, Shamari Simmons strips it and gets the fumble.
Yeah.
Puts us in the red zone. I loved that.
Nice. That was a great way to paint a picture right there, Trevor. Yeah, that was
Amazing
perfect.
stuff.
It was
That was
stressful,
beautiful.
man. It was 28-28 for
It was.
I know for so long.
Yeah.
And I was working the sports network I work with. We were doing some graphics, and everyone's watching the game, and it was really funny to listen
Dude,
to.
that sounds like a cool atmosphere.
Yeah, everybody's seeing everything at different times.
Like everyone's in different
Why is
little
that?
classrooms, like personal editing bays.
and personal
Yeah.
editing bays. You know, someone's cheering, everyone's like, "What happened?" And then they see it on their screen, like, "Oh!" So it was a lot of fun to watch.
That's
Just
cool.
all the turnovers,
Yeah.
man. And then watching the Dolphins and Bills game at the same time.
Totally.
Rip
Yeah,
too.
my
Uh,
cousin
RIP
is
to Tua.
a diehard Bills fan, so we were watching that a little bit. I was on the computer watching the ASU game, but I'm so glad we turned that off in the fourth quarter.
I
It was
agree. I got stuck
I
in
turned
an
it off
elevator.
as soon as I saw Skylar Thompson go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, I got stuck in an elevator for 30 minutes. So I missed the first touchdown of the game. So
Damn.
there was
For
that. But
you missed ASU's first touchdown.
well, we technically saw it, and we made the lady that was helping us laugh because we were going nuts in an elevator for Cam. And then Texas Tech scored, and then we were all sad again. So
Yeah, I was honestly expecting like more of a dominant win after that first tutty,
Yeah.
but then Jordan McLeod just responded really well. I think
he looks
like I
he
said-
looks like a really good.
well,
Yeah,
he's just
dude, he
he
looked
has so
great.
much to prove, man. A
give
guy
him a
coming from
chance on a different
JMU.
D1 school, like man,
Yeah.
I think he could do something on like a Power 4 team.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather have McLeod over Leavitt, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
well-
what you get when Leavitt is a redshirt freshman and
Yeah,
Jordan
this is
McLeod's a 5-year at college football.
Well,
player.
6 year. He's a 6 year now.
Yeah,
He's
dude, that's just
29.
what-
Yeah.
that's
That's
gonna
just what
happen.
it happens.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
very experienced, but I like what I saw from him from the most part.
That's true. Leavitt still
yesterday.
had a great game. No bad takeaways, honestly, from Leavitt's game.
He just looks so well coached.
He does.
Like
yeah.
it really is. Sam Leavitt's a different player if he's on a different team, in my opinion.
He is.
Like Kenny Dillingham really is a good coach, and Marcus Aurelio is obviously really good. Isn't a transitive to that. Like he's a great offensive coordinator, but it's all
yeah, wasn't
about
he the head
Dillingham.
coach at UNLV before he got here? I believe.
Yes.
Yes, he was.
I-
Yes, he was.
He was.
He was. Yeah.
That's huge. That's
That is
stuff.
huge. A head coach being the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, of course.
it's
I
huge.
mean, it was I mean, I guess not necessarily the same thing. I mean, we saw I was about to say it was kind of the same as like what was it? MSU's or no, sorry, Wyoming's Craig Bull situation. Aaron
defense.
Bull,
Head
Nepo
coach for
baby.
UNLV 2020 to 2022.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. I thought so. I thought I'd seen
I
something
mentioned
about
this
that
though
too.
in one of my daily pitchforks. Kenny Dillingham is a part of the coaching tree of Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell, they had their experience at Memphis for 4 years, and then they went to Florida State, balled out. Obviously, Mike Norvell's still there. And then Kenny Dillingham bounced from Auburn for a year after 3 years at Memphis, and then went with the whole Dan Lanning at Oregon. But Lanning, Dillingham, all part of the Mike Norvell tree, and it's visible. These guys are offensive minds, and I love to see it. It's
Absolutely.
really good stuff, really good production by the team.
And we're running a little bit low on time, guys. So, any final takeaways?
Honestly, I just can't wait to beat Tech, because if we beat Tech, then we'll be ranked.
Whoa! Friday 13th. Knock on wood, buddy.
No, I'm not saying we will. I'm saying I can't wait till we do it.
Okay.
But-
Okay.
but I'm not saying- I'm
it's
not-
not the
that's not
same
my
thing. It's
projection.
different.
It's not my projection. I'm just saying I'm anxious to see a winning outcome so we can be in the top 25.
Yeah.
No, totally. I
Because
mean,
you guys think we're ranked if we beat Tech?
oh, easily
I think
without
if
a
we
doubt.
go 4-0, we're at
Yeah.
least
We're at least
a top 30.
Yeah.
Maybe not top 25.
We might
yet, but
if we beat Tech and we don't get ranked, we're just outside. I mean, we're
get-
talking 26, 27.
Yeah,
If that's the
exactly.
We'll
case.
get
Exactly.
30 votes minimum, yeah.
Oh yeah, and I was stressing this so hard, and I'm gonna keep saying this. If we would have lost to Texas State, we were gonna lose in Texas Tech. ASU was not gonna bounce back on a road game back in Texas.
I'd have to
They will not
disagree
do
with
that. I don't think
I would,
that's
I would
ASU.
have to disagree too because they would get extra prep time. They
Yeah,
would know what
they
they
had
need to
10 days.
fix.
Yep.
They'd get 10 days. Texas Tech is
That's
not
why
getting
I don't
10
see
days.
it.
as
I don't
stressed.
see
I
it.
was like, okay, if we lose to Texas State, we're good. We can still rebound. We can still be a good school. We can still go 8-4 this season. But because we beat Texas State, that helps catapult a lot of the momentum. But I would have to disagree with that. I think we would have beaten Technum, like we'd be 3-1.
Respectively, I disagree because I do not
This
believe
team doesn't
that
look
Texas.
like they'd fall in a pit
They-
of despair.
I think so. I
look
think
very
Sam-
motivated.
No, dude,
Yes, momentum
dude,
is what
Kenny
every-
Dillingham's a
this is-
motivator.
Of course he
men.
is, but
look
at the
great,
same time,
man.
I'm saying when your team gets discouraged, your team plays worse. That's how it is at every level. But ASU, I feel like it would hit so hard, especially when you're going against Texas Tech, a stadium that doubles San Marcos' stadium in Texas State.
I get it.
That's such a hard
I
atmosphere to play in as you get there. And not to mention, you're already shaken up about the Texas State game you just played in. Sure, Texas Tech is worse than
That's
Texas
why
State.
it's a response.
We can all agree to that. But at the same time, I do not believe Arizona State is a team that will recover on the road. I think they're a team that recovers fine at home. If we were playing Texas Tech at home, coming after a loss after Texas State, I'd feel fine about that. I feel like there's more motivation
we were
there.
playing them at home.
I agree. But I'm saying there's more motivation there, more momentum kind of built up around the fans and the players. Cam loves playing at home. He loves Mountain America Stadium. He said it in post interviews, pregame interviews. He says it all the time.
Yeah,
But I
it's good
personally,
energy there.
of course, I just personally believe that if we would have lost to Texas State, we were going to lose to Texas Tech. I'm happy we won against Texas State because now I have a feeling we're going to beat Texas Tech because of it. I felt like it was either back-to-back losses or back-to-back wins, and I'm on the back-to-back win train right now.
All right.
I like that.
Just one last question, really quick.
Okay.
How do you guys feel emotionally about our matchups against teams like Oklahoma State and Kansas State now?
Unstable.
Unstable. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I need to watch this.
So
Texas.
nothing's changing yet.
Nothing's changing yet.
Okay,
We just
okay.
beat teams that we probably should beat at this point.
Texas
So,
State was the hardest one so far.
Texas State was the hardest
yeah.
one, but
was a
I'm
hard
gonna need to see
environment.
the Texas Tech game, and then next week,
I'm gonna
if
need
you
to
guys
see-
tune in, I'll have an official opinion
All
on
right.
that.
All
Yeah,
right.
Kansas will be a fun one. Kansas is
Exactly.
going to be fun, guys. Seeing Jane Daniels ball out,
For me, I'm more excited for the Utah game.
It's gonna
that's
be
fair.
Because Utah always
fair.
has our number. So if we
Yeah,
can
let's see.
see
let's
the
what they can
reciprocal
do.
outcome, then I'm happy.
But we have a great stretch of games on our schedule after this Texas Tech game, and I'm so excited to see.
And
how we
they're
perform,
after
man.
bye weeks. I
I'm
love
so
it.
hyped.
I love our schedule, dude. It's
Oh, of
so
course.
fucking nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Cool.
Hey, yeah,
Awesome.
you guys are gonna want to be tuned in. We're getting some more
Folks,
great
What's up, baby?
content
What's
out.
Activate the Valley. Buy in. We need everyone to buy in.
Yep.
Let's go beat that student attendance record, baby.
And that is it for the 480 podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in.